Hello Year 5s and welcome to your maths lesson for Wednesday. We've been looking at fractions this week and I've been so incredibly proud of all the work I've been seeing on equivalent fractions, and I'm really pleased to see people giving it a go, and even if they've struggled a little bit, I can see that they've worked through it. It's wonderful to see people they're showing they're working out as well. So please do keep sending us your work. It's been wonderful to see it. And as I mentioned earlier in your reading, it is very important that you're sending all your work to us now so that we can keep a register of how you're doing. Otherwise, we'll be contacting you guys at the end of the week to find out what's happening. So keep sending us your work. We love to see it and give you some feedback. So we're going to carry on with fractions today. This is probably the easiest section to be going through. So we're going to start with our fast 5 as our starter. 5 minutes is your limit. So if you need to get a timer out, make sure you've got a sort of a time so that you can make sure that you're not spending too long on these questions. As I said many times before, these are all revision questions. So they're things that you've been doing all the time in class, so nothing new. So if you can pause your video now and have a go, good luck. Right, let's see how well you're done. Hopefully 5 out of 5. Right, our simple multiplication. Many of you have been practicing your times tables at home with Hit the Button or any of the other apps that you have, and that's wonderful to hear. But just remember that it's important that you're still trying to do some of the maths learning as well and not just doing times tables, okay? Right, so we're going to say 4 times 2 is 8 and 8 times 9 is 72, okay? Number 2, I'm going to rub this out, so we'll just move it over. I have some space to work out. Right, so I've got 56.3 and I'm multiplying it by 100. So when I'm multiplying, I'm going to be moving to the left, okay? And I'm going to move my number twice because there are 2 zeros. So if I move my number twice, I'm going to move it over. I need to move my 3 and my 0. And if you want to put the decimal in, you can, and then just make sure you put another 0 afterwards, all right? If you don't put the decimal in, that's also fine, all right? But you've moved the numbers now 3 times and putting in that placeholder to represent that place value, okay? So hopefully you got that one correct. So I'm just going to write it nice and neatly here. Oh, not very neat, but there we go. Right, let's rub that out so we've got some more space to work out. Right, another multiplication. Remember, missing number in the beginning, do the inverse and you're winning. So we say 108 divided by 9 is going to be 12. Again, knowing your times tables is going to be key now for a lot of the content that we're going to be learning about going forward. Another one, 7 squared is 7 times 7, which is 49. And some of our decimals that we've been looking at, adding, making sure that we line up that decimal. It is very important, and then we write the numbers. Okay, we do not move the decimal, and the decimal must stay in my answer. Right, I'm going to be adding, so I make sure I'm not going to make any silly mistakes, that I'm definitely adding. And I go 5 plus 5 is 10, carry the 1. 4 plus 0 plus 1 is 5. I've got my decimal. 9 plus 4 is 13. And there's my answer. So hopefully 5 out of 5 for your starter. Right, put everything away now and have a look. You might need some paper for some of the questions, but I would like you to have no distractions because this is going to be super easy and only if you are concentrating, okay? Some of you say that you don't understand stuff, and then actually it's if you really did listen and you're really focusing and you're really trying your best and you're not getting distracted, hopefully the slides will make more sense to you. So our big question for today, it says, Billy bought 5/8 of a pizza to a party. So imagine this is a pizza and he's bought 5/8. So on your piece of paper, you can either draw it out, okay? And color in 5/8 of this pizza. And Jason bought 4/8 of this pizza, and I want to know how much did they bring all together. So have a really little think about that. If you need to draw out the 2 pizzas, color in the fraction that they bought, put the slices that they bought, and color them in, and then see what you need to do with those two fractions. And let's see how you did. So give it a go. Pause the video if you need to, and then we'll go through it. Right. So it says Billy bought 5 8. So this is Billy's pizza here, and he's bought 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it says that Jason has bought 4 8s. He obviously got hungry along the way. And I want to know how much they bought all together. Okay. So when I see the word together, I know I'm going to be adding. Okay. I'm not subtracting. I'm adding these slices. So I'm simply going to say 5 plus 4 is 9. And I'm going to leave it as 8s. Okay. All right. I don't change the bottom number because these are the amounts that has been divided into equally. Okay. So I leave it as an improper fraction. Improper fraction, we're going to be looking at this terminology in a moment, but where the top number is bigger than the bottom number. And that is the answer. Okay. Some of you might have said that it could be a mixed number, which means that I could say 8 goes into 9 one whole time, and I'm left with 1 8, which means if I had to make this pizza, so I'll just quickly rub this out and show you what that means. Is if I take the 5 8s, which is Billy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I take Jason's slices and I add them to this piece here, and he's got 4, 1, 2, 3, and he's going to have an extra 4. You will see there that I have one whole pizza they've brought together and one little slice there. So there is the one whole pizza. There is the one slice left over out of the 8 in total. Right, so this is the vocab that we need to be looking at. We need to make sure that we understand this vocabulary, because later on in your activities, it's going to be asking you to either create an improper fraction or a mixed number or a, so it's important that we look and understand the vocab. So proper fractions, if you have a look, can you see something that's in common? Right, and you will hopefully notice that the top number is smaller than the bottom number. The numerator is smaller than the denominator. So we call that a proper fraction, okay? An improper fraction is the opposite. So what can you notice with those fractions now if it's the opposite? And hopefully you've now noticed that the top number of all these fractions are bigger than the bottom number. And we call that an improper fraction. And our mixed number is where we have a whole number and a fraction together, okay? So those are the 3 terms that you will need to understand and know. So at any point that you get confused, you can come back to the slide and have a look at it again. Right, so we're going to be looking at converting fractions. The first one we're going to look at is when we have a mixed fraction and we want to create an improper fraction, okay? Now, as I said earlier, if at any point that this is getting a little bit too much and you think I'm going too quickly or you're not understanding, first of all, make sure that you're paying attention. And second of all, watch this a few times. In class, we often teach something a couple of times before you will even attempt it. So if you don't get it at the first attempt, please go back and re-watch this section so that you can really grasp this really easy concept. Right, so I want to convert 3 wholes and 4/5 to an improper fraction. And hopefully you can remember what an improper fraction is, and that's why I said it's so important that you know what this terminology means, okay? So an improper fraction is where my top number is bigger than my bottom number. So let's have a look. If I'm taking this fraction, I'm going to be breaking it up, which means I have 3 whole pizzas. This number here is my mixed number, and this number here represents the whole numbers that I have. So I have 3 whole pizzas, okay? And I've divided them up into fifths, all right? So they're into 5 slices. So they are my 3 whole pieces, and I've divided them into fifths. Now, that was just the 3. Now I'm left with this fraction, okay, of a pizza, and I have got 4 slices out of the total of 5. So can you see there are the 4 slices, and there is the 5th slice, but I'm not including that 5th slice because it is not there, okay? So my fraction 3 4/5 is representing the 3 whole fractions, sorry, the 3 whole pizzas and the fraction, which is the 4 slices out of the 5. Okay, so this bottom number here always tells me how many times I've divided the shape, in this case, the pizza. So if I have a look, I now want to say, if I break it up, I have 1 pizza plus 1 pizza plus 1 pizza plus 4/5 of a pizza, okay? And so I know that any whole number, all right, can be written as a fraction as well. And it just looks exactly the same. So if I'm working in fifths, I'm going to say that it's 5/5. Because if I had to eat 5/5 of this pizza, if I had to eat 5 slices, I would have eaten the whole pizza. So whenever we're talking about a whole number and we want to make it into a fraction, whatever we've got as the denominator, which was fifths here, which over here you can see there's the fifths. We've been dividing the pizza into fifths. That number would go at the top. So in this case, it would be 5/5. Right, so I can represent each of these whole pizzas as fractions. So I'm going to say that this whole pizza is worth 5/5. This whole pizza is 5 slices out of 5. This is 5/5. And then I mustn't forget my 4/5. And now, like we've been doing many times, when I'm adding fractions, I leave the denominators the same. If they are the same, I can just add the top numbers. And I get the number 19/5. Okay, the fraction of 19/5. So just a reminder again, let's go back. When we're adding fractions, it is very important that the denominators have to be the same. So here, all my denominators are the same. It's over 5. And so if my denominator is the same, my bottom number is the same, I simply add the top numbers, okay? So a quick way of doing this and taking all that understanding is to say that I'm going to take 5 times 3, okay? Because there are 3 whole pizzas here. So I'm going to say 5 times 3 and is equal to 15. Now, if some of you are struggling with your times table knowledge, go and Google a times table grid, and you can have that to use when you're working out times tables, okay? Don't say, oh, I don't know my times table, so I can't do it. That is nonsense. I want you to go and Google a times table grid, and you can then look up the answers and then practice your times tables after the lessons. Right, so once I've got 5 times 3, that is my whole numbers here. So there you can see it's 5 plus 5 plus 5, so 5 times 3. And then I'm going to add the top number, the numerator. So I'm going to say 15 plus 4 is equal to 19. And there you can see my 2 fractions are the same. So this method is using the exact same method of showing you with the pictures, except now it's just using your understanding of the pictures to then make a simple calculation, okay? So we take the bottom number, say it with me if you need to. The bottom number times the whole number, get your answer, plus the numerator. So denominator times the whole number plus the numerator. Say it with me one more time. Bottom number times the whole number plus the numerator, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. So let's have a go at some questions together. Right, this is just some of those steps. Again, if you need to come back and look at this again, you can come back to the steps to see how to follow it to get the answer. So remember, I multiply the whole number by the denominator, the bottom number, okay? Times. And when you're doing your working out, and I've been so impressed with some of you that have been sending me your work, I want to see the arrow, 5, and then put a times table. Don't be lazy and try and do it in your head. Use that working out strategy so that you don't make silly mistakes. So 5 times 3, and then do another arrow plus the 4. It's a very wonky 4 and plus though. Right. And so if I say 5 times 3, 15, 15 plus 4 is 19, okay? So I add the numerator and I place the total above the original denominator. So I must leave that number, whatever that number is, must be that number as well, okay? So let's have a look at some together. Right, I'm gonna do this one with you, and then you're going to do this one on your own. So to get a mixed number to an improper fraction, I'm going to say 4. What am I going to be doing here? Good. I'm going to be multiplying. So I'm going to say 4 times 7 is 28. 28. What am I going to be doing with the numerator? Good. Adding it. I'm going to say 28 plus 2 is going to give me 30. And now can you tell me what number needs to go at the bottom here? Right. It has to be the 4. It has to be this number. Whatever the denominator is here must stay at the bottom here. Now, if you don't know what 4 times 7 is, do not say, well, I don't know what my tables are, so I can't do this question. What did I say? Go and get a times table grid. Go and look up the answers so that you can do the method. Okay, today is not about knowing your times tables. It's about learning the method. Right, see if you can do this one on your own now. So pause the video and have a go. Right, let's have a look. So I'm going to take the bottom number times the whole number. So 4 times 1 is 4, and then I add, and I hope that you are going to be putting in all these arrows with the times and the plus sign so that you know what you are doing. So I'm going to say 4 times 1 is 4, and 4 plus 1 is going to be 5, and I keep whatever this number is going to stay at the bottom here. Right, if you need a bit more practice, I would like you to do these two sums for me. All right, so you can pause the video now and see if you can do those. Otherwise, you can fast forward and you can go on to the next slide. So those of you who'd like to just make sure that you're securing this knowledge, go ahead and do those two for me very quickly. So pause the video and have a go. Right, hopefully you've managed to do that. And if you need to go back and go through the slides again to check those steps, you are welcome to do that, okay? Right, so we're going to say 11. We're going to put our arrow times 1 is 11. And 11 plus 1 is 12. And I keep the bottom number the same. Whatever the bottom number is here, it must be the same here. Right. 6 times 6 is 36. And 36 plus 2 is going to be 38. And hopefully you've remembered to put the same denominator, 6. Hopefully you've managed that. If you have not got these, go back, go and look through the steps again and see if you can figure it out, and then try and do these 4 questions again. Right, now we're going to go from improper to mixed. So I'm taking the fraction that has the bigger number on top, and I'm going to be making it into a mixed number, which means I'm going to have a whole and a fraction. So it says we're going to be working with 6. Okay, to start, divide some shapes into 6. So we just got a few ready here. Okay, you're not going to go and draw a million of these. That's just wasting your time. So I'm just going to draw 4. Right, and I've divided each of these. If you want to make it a pizza or a cake or a pie so that you can see it in your head, then you're welcome to. So I'm going to say pizzas because I love a good pizza. So I have got 4 pizzas here, and you can see that I have divided them into 6 equal parts. Right, if the numerator is 13, all right, and I think we want to say, let's say we want to say 13, 6, and we're going to be working out the mixed fraction. So I've got 13, 6, which is my improper fraction, and I'm going to want to make it into a mixed number. That's why I've divided, sorry, I haven't put that there for you guys, but that's why I've divided it up into 6, okay, because that bottom number tells me. And now it says that I have 13 slices. So I'm going to go and color in 13 slices. If you count all of those, you will have 13, all right? And so, let me just quickly take that away so we don't get confused. Right, so can you see here that I have 13 slices colored in? And now can you tell me how many whole pizzas do I have? If I had eaten all of these yellow slices, how many whole pizzas would I have eaten? I would have eaten 2 whole pizzas. And what fraction would I be left with? 1 slice over, and how many slices have I divided this pizza into? 6. Okay, so let's quickly go through that again. I'm going from improper to mixed. So I'm taking my improper fraction. I've got 6, so I'm going to be dividing some of my pizzas into 6. I'm then going to shade 13 because it says that I've got 13 slices. So I shade the 13 and then I have a look and it says that I've got 2 whole pizzas that I've eaten and I have 1 slice here that I've eaten out of the 6. So I've got 2 whole, but I'm still left with 1 slice. I have eaten it. I can't just imaginally make it disappear, although some of us would like to make pizza just disappear. But I can't just magically make it disappear from my tummy that I've eaten it, so I have to keep it here, and I've eaten 1 6. Right, so there is the answer. So, and 13 6 is equal to 2 and a 6. Right, okay. So what I could also say is I could have said 6 over 6 plus 6 over 6, 6 plus 1 6 is equal to 2 and a 6. Okay, that's just basically breaking it up into even further. All right, instead of writing all of those down, I just write the mixed fraction. Now, the method that we can learn from this is that we can then say, right, how many times does this whole number at the bottom go into 8? So how many groups of 5 can I make with 8? I mean, with 8. So I can make 1 whole group. So 5 goes into 8 once. What am I left with? I'm left with 3. And what number do you think I'm going to put over here? And hopefully you said 5, because it's going to be fifths, because I'm working in fifths here. So this number goes into the top number how many times? What am I left over with? And then I leave the bottom number the same. Okay, so here are my steps to success. So if you at any point you get confused about how you go from an improper to a mixed, come back to this page and go through it again. Right, so I'm going to do some with you and then you're going to do some on your own. So let's do this one together. So I'm going to say, first of all, I know that these numbers are the same. So that makes me very happy because all I do is I add the top numbers together. So 5 plus 5 is 10 and I leave the bottom number the same, so 10 quarters. Now I've got an improper and I want to make it a mixed number. Remember, I'm going from improper to mixed. So I'm going to say 4 goes into 10 twice. I can make 2 groups of 4, which is 8. What am I left over with? I'm left over with 2. And what number am I going to keep at the bottom? 4. Now, we have done mixed to improper, so I can go and check now to see if my answer makes sense. So we can do the opposite. So we can say 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. And there's my bottom number that stays the same. So can you see now how we can use those two to check our answers? So I'd like you now to have a go at doing the rest. I did say we would do this one together, but I think I'll let you see if you can do this one on your own. Otherwise, if you do need some more help, you can just continue watching the video and not pause it. But those of you who want to give it a go, pause it now and have a go on your own. Right, those of you who want to have a bit more practice, let's have a look at this one together. So we're going to say 17 minus 12 because we can do that because our bottom numbers are the same. So 17 minus 12 is going to be 5. And I'm going to leave the bottom number exactly the same. And there is my improper fraction. And I'm going from improper to mixed. I'm going to say 3 goes into 5 once. And I'm left with 2. And I leave the bottom number the same as this number. I'm now going to go check to see if my improper fraction is correct. And I'm going to go and say 3 times 1 is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. And I leave the bottom number the same, thirds, so 5 thirds is correct, okay? Right, so if you're happy now, see if you can pause the video and carry on with the last 2. Good, right, so happy days, bottom number is the same, so all I have to do is add the top number and I get 39. And I leave the bottom number the same. And now I'm gonna say how many groups of 7 can I make with 39? So how many times does 7 go into 39, and if I need to, I'm going to count 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, and I can't go any further. So 35 is going to go in 5 whole times. What am I left with? I'm left with 4, and I leave the bottom number the same. And now I can go and double check. 7 times 5 is 35. 35 plus 4 is 39, leaving the bottom numbers the same. Right, happy days. The bottom numbers are the same. My denominators are alike, so I can simply subtract the top numbers. So 20 minus 3 is going to be 17, and I leave the 2 at the bottom. So 17 halves. 2 goes into 17. How many times? And I'm going to say 8. Oops, wrong block, wrong block. Right. So I'm going to go 2 goes into 17 8 whole times. What am I left with? 1 and a half. Right, 1/2. So 8 and a half is what is my answer, and I'm going to go double check. 2 times 8 is 16. 16 plus 1 is 17 halves. Okay, so there you can see the relationship between improper and mixed and how you can use that to check your answers. Right, so we're going to have a quick recap. If you would like to pause the video now and just have a go at these, going from mixed to improper and then from improper to mixed, you may go. If those of you who want to just have a few examples, then I'll do one of each and then you can have a go at the end. So I'm going to go from mixed, here's my mixed number, to an improper. So I'm going to say 6 times 7 is 42, 42 plus 1 is 43, and I leave the bottom number the same. Okay, see if you can give these 3 a go, and then we'll carry on. So pause the video and have a go. Right, let's see how well you did with this one. So I'm going to say 3 times 3 is 9. Oh, it's a very wonky times. 9 plus 2 is 11, and I leave the bottom number the same, thirds. 11 times 5 is 55. 55 plus 7 is going to be 62. And I leave the bottom number the same. Right, 11 times 8 is 88. 88 plus 4 is going to be 92 11ths. Okay. Yep, happy days. Hopefully you've done really well with those. Right, those of you who want just a quick practice with this one, we'll do this one together. Otherwise, if you have answered it, you can see if you got it right. So I'm going to leave the bottom number the same, and I simply add the top numbers. All right, and now I'm going to say 4 goes into 15 3 times, and I'm left with 3 quarters. Okay, it's 4, and I can go and check. 3 times 4 is 12, 13, 14, 15. Happy days. So see if you can do this one on your own now. Pause the video if you need and have a go. Right, let's see how you did. So I'm going to say 14 plus 8 is 22. And I leave the bottom number the same. And I say 4 goes into 22 and 5 times. And I'm left with 2 quarters. And now I can just quickly go and check. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 plus 2 is 22. Hopefully you've done really well with all of those and you're happy with your answers, okay? You can also go and check your improper to mixed. You can say 3 goes into 11, 3 whole times, and I'm left with 2/3 afterwards. So you can also go and use that to check your answers. Right, so you're going to be doing some activities now. There are 2 or 3 chilies today, and there's a challenge for everybody to try and do at the end, all right? So have a look, and I just want to see it. Let me just quickly, I've got the answers on the sides here. So if you're doing the 2 chilies, all right, I would like you to write the amount that has been shaded as a mixed number for me. So how many whole parts do you have and how many are you left with? Then convert these mixed numbers into to improper fractions. Okay, All right, so how many times does 2 go into 3, and what am I left over with? And then convert these mixed numbers into improper fractions. Sorry, not 2. Convert these to mixed numbers, and then convert these to improper fractions, okay? So if you need to use those steps, remember to go back in the video, go and have a look, all right? Remember when we're doing mixed numbers, we're saying 2 goes into 3, how many times, what am I left over? And when I'm doing improper, I'm gonna say 7 times 1 plus 2, and then that's gonna be my numerator, and then leave the denominator the same, okay? So I'm gonna go back up to the top here, and I'm gonna just start again so that you can then pause the video at any time, and then we'll have a look at the answers afterwards. So this is question A. So you can do this now, pause the video. Here are questions B, converting these to mixed numbers, these improper fractions to mixed numbers. So pause the video, have a go. And the last set is converting these mixed numbers to improper fractions. So have a go. Right, 2 chilies, let's look at your answers now, okay? Right, so I want to know the amount that is shaded as a mixed number. So how many wholes do I have here? I have 3, and I've got 1 slice that has been, and these have all been divided into 2 equal parts. So it's going to be 3.5. Here I've got 2 whole pizzas, cake, pies, and I've got 1 little slice left over out of 4. Here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 whole pizzas or pies or cakes, and I'm left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5, 6. And here I've got 3 whole pizzas, and I've got 3 eighths. Okay, so that was quite nice and easy. Right, here you had to convert these numbers into mixed numbers. So I said 2 goes into 3 1 whole times, and I'm left with 1.5. Then I'm saying 4 goes into 7 once, and I'm left with 3/4. 5 goes into 6 once, and I'm left with a 1/5. 3 goes into 7 2 times, and I'm left with a 1/3. And 6 goes into 13 twice, and I'm left with a 6. So hopefully you did that. Then converting these to improper fractions, I'm going to say 7 times 1 is 7, plus 2 is 9/7. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 7, I mean, not 9 plus 7 is 17. Yeah, it's plus 8, sorry. Oh, getting all confused there. My 7s, 8s, and 9s. Let's try that again. 9 times 1 is 9, and 9 plus 8 is going to be 17 ninths. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 2 is 8/3. 8 times 2 is 16. 16 plus 5 is going to be 21, leaving the denominator the same. And 7 times 3 is 21. 21 plus 3 is going to be 24. And I leave the bottom number the same, 7s. Right, at the end of this video, there's a challenge. Go and see if you can spot the mistake and have a go at that. Hopefully this was really easy. And if at all you got stuck, excuse me, please go back in the video and watch it and see if you can figure it out. Right, those of you who are doing 3 chilies, let me just get that. Those are the answers. You're going to pause the video at any time you need. So these are your questions. The first one, you're going to convert these numbers to mixed numbers for me. B is write these as mixed fractions. And then C is convert to improper fractions. And the last one, D, is going to be fill in the missing numbers that go at the top here. Okay, so have a go at those. If you need to pause the video at any time, go back and pause the video and then give a go at those answers. Right, let's have a look at the answers once you're done. So once you're finished going through it, see how well you did. Right, so here are your answers. If you need to pause the video, please do so and check your answers. Here are your answers for B. Pause the video at any point you need so that you can make sure that you checking your answers. Here is C. And lastly, here is D. Okay. And I would like you now to go and try and do the challenge. So here is your challenge. Can you spot my mistake? Okay, I have done some, I've got some improper fractions here and I've made mixed numbers. Can you go and spot my mistakes and correct them for me? So pause the video now, have a go at answering that. Right, so let's go through them. So 5 goes into 27 5 times, and I'm then going to be left with 2 fifths. So therefore, that one is incorrect. 3 goes into 27, doesn't go into 27 8 times. How many times does 3 go into 27? It goes 9 times. So that one is incorrect. 4 goes into 27. 4 goes into 20, will go, if I go counting in 4s, so 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, and I can't do 28, so it's going to be 6 times, which is 24. And then I'm going to say, what am I left over? It's 3, and I leave the bottom number the same, quarters. And 10 goes into 27, only twice, not 20 times, only twice, and I'm left with 7 tenths. So hopefully you managed to get all of those, and you've managed to spot all those mistakes. So those were all incorrect, okay? And hopefully you managed to ace that. So don't forget to send me your work to year5@theparmeracademy.com. Love to see your work and see how you're doing, and hope you have a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of your learning, and I'm just sharing all my weird screens. So have a wonderful day, and I will see and chat to you later.